Hello, welcome to my channel. This is my first video, so enjoy hopefully. 2025. It's finally over. We're in 2026, and wow. What a year 2025 was for cinema. We got some great original work, some interesting franchise stuff, fascinating stuff from all genres, and even the cinematic equivalent of TikTok brain rot, so there's something for everyone this year. There were a few films I did want to see before this year was out that I wasn't able to for various reasons, like Hamnet, Sentimental Value, Die My Love, The Long Walk, and a bunch of others that I'm probably forgetting. But hey, what are you gonna do? I wanted to keep this intro pretty short because this video is going to be long enough. I'm ranking every single film that I watched in Big 25 that came out in Big 25. So let's just begin with the biggest piece of shit I watched all year.
We're looking for the night guard. He's the night guard!
Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is such a rare fucking movie for me, because it's maybe the first film I've ever seen where no one acts like a real person. In fact, it doesn't even feel like regular people made this movie. Everyone in this film feels like they were being programmed mid-shoot by an otherworldly being trying desperately to pass itself off as human and failing miserably. The plot of this movie is so fucking stupid and it's not even funny. Characters will just appear with no impact on the plot. There's a villain in this movie who might take the cake for being like the least involved in the main conflict villain in any movie I've ever seen. So like the fucking puppet gets killed by Shaggy, and instead of blaming him, which Chica, I think it was her anyway, but like who gives a shit, says she doesn't blame him. You know, the puppet doesn't actually blame him. Instead, she blames the fucking parents. What? So, like, she doesn't blame the guy who, like, murdered her? How does that work? Wayne Knight and Skeet Ulrich are also in this film, and they're completely wasted. Matthew Lillard is completely wasted. I hate this movie. I already didn't like the first movie, and I only really liked it when Matthew Lillard was on screen. And that's basically the same here. Also, the one scene that Skeet Ulrich is in is really fucking weird because he is acting way too hard in this film. His acting is way too good. So maybe in the next film, the main characters can just be Billy and Stu. And then maybe it'll be good for once. I don't know, I fucking hate these movies so much. I'm well past my Five Nights at Freddy's phase.
First we mine, then we craft. Let's Minecraft!
The Minecraft movie is only in second to last place because unlike FNAF, which is the most boring, frustrating movie I saw all year, this movie fails in spectacular fashion. It is brain rot made into a major motion picture, and I had the time of my life in the movie theatre watching this shit show. This is probably a very dark omen for the future of cinema, but honestly I don't even care. I'm just scared for the sequel because of the poor cinema workers who are gonna have to clean up more popcorn. And yeah, that's it. What the fuck do you actually want me to say about the Minecraft movie? Chicken Jockey.
This is getting out of hand. Now there are two of them.
The Alto Knights is the most forgettable movie I watched all year. It's the first movie on here to feature the doubles gimmick, with a lead actor multi-roles as two or more characters. This was the gimmick of the year for some reason, and this is the worst example. I thought going into this that Robert De Niro was playing like twin brothers, but no, apparently. They're just friends who just so happen to look and sound exactly alike. Okay. Other than the cheap gimmick and the kind of bad editing at points, this is just the most generic gangster movie you could ever make. It screams, we have Goodfellas at home. My dad got a kick out of it at least. Gangster movies and Robert De Niro, they're like his bread and butter. Mountainhead was maybe the most disappointing film I saw this year. Mainly because this year I also watched a little show. a little show called Succession. Long story short, it's an absolute masterpiece. Probably the most compelling character drama I've ever seen.
Can I just say,
Sure.
I never touched Roman inappropriately.
Anyway, the show was created by Jesse Armstrong, who wrote and directed Mountainhead. Surely that would mean it's good, right? No, not really. This feels like a leftover idea for a Mattson-centric Season 4 episode of Succession. If you know what I mean, like, if you've seen the show. I mean, hell, Corey Michael Smith's character in this is like an Elon Musk type tech bro CEO, just like Mattson. This film just lacks the grippingly compelling dialogue and character drama of Succession. Despite some funny bits and the four lead performances by Steve Carell, Corey Michael Smith, Rami Youssef, and Jason Schwartzman being really strong, it felt like Armstrong was more focused on the pastiche angle rather than the characters here, and he could have used some help from someone like Will Tracy on the script, or someone like Mark Mylod directing. Also, Nicholas Britell does the score here, and it is fucking bland here. This man literally wrote all of the music for Succession. I know he can do better. I wonder if he wrote another score this year that made him redeem himself. I don't know, I guess we'll have to see. I will say I did like the antics in the third act. They were pretty funny. But by that point I was just kind of thinking, wait, why am I watching this when I could be watching Succession? So yeah, watch this if you want to ease your way into Jesse Armstrong's style of writing. If not, like, just watch Succession.
Hi, I'm Scott.
Did he just say, "Hi, I'm Scott"?
Friendship had me intrigued by the trailer alone, and when I finally watched it, The two main things that really didn't work for me here were the comedy and Tim Robinson's performance. There are some funny bits here, particularly from Paul Rudd and some of the absurd situations he and Robinson get into. But a lot of the humour here is very much like cringe humour, and it just didn't work for me. And with Tim Robinson's performance, no offense to the guy, but I found his performance kind of unbearable by the end. Like, maybe that's the point, but every sentence from him is super over the top, and he's just constantly screaming and shouting, and it just gets grating after a while.
Get the fuck out of my garage! Fuck you, you psycho! Who are you?
It kind of works for showing how much of a pathetic man-baby his character is, but since his performance is the main thing we're watching for most of the film, it makes a large majority of the film really hard for me to watch. I'm sure this film will click for others way more, but it just didn't really work for me. I'm sorry.
Take me away to that special place, that blowjob place, where people like us can all live free.
So, I like musicals, but for the longest time, I refused to watch the first Wicked movie, because I wanted to see it on stage again beforehand, something that I hadn't done since I was a little baby. But eventually I caved in and watched it. First Wicked movie? Yeah, it's good. A little rough around the edges with a story that doesn't always hold my attention, but it has good characters, two fantastic lead performances, banger songs, and Jeff Goldblum. Wicked 2? Well, it's a little rough around the edges with a story that doesn't always hold my attention, but it has good characters, two fantastic lead performances, banger songs, and Jeff Goldblum. Though there are significant issues. First off, as much as I love Michelle Yeoh, she's really fucking bad in this. Not even just the singing, but she just seems really bored in this role. Secondly, the way the movie awkwardly tries to connect itself to the original Wizard of Oz really doesn't work, for reasons I won't get into because they're spoilery. Also, some characters I just feel aren't very well written, like Nessa and Madame Morrible, but that's more so the fault of the stage show it's adapting rather than the movie's fault. Oh well, there's probably other issues I could go on for, but I don't really want to talk about this one for too long. It's worth checking out still if you like the first movie, and if you like the stage show, obviously. Just don't expect it to be better than the first movie.
The magical place, we're on our way there, with toys in the millions all under one roof.
Roofman is the perfect Sunday afternoon film, as Tom Pines on TikTok once said. It's just a film about Channing Tatum escaping prison, living in a Toys R Us, and falling in love with MJ. It's nothing amazing, but it is really charming. The best parts of the film are Channing's character Jeff just trying to live his life outside of, prison and whilst being on the run. And I like how this film isn't black and white with how it portrays Jeff. It shows that while he is cordial and a polite guy, he's still not a good person and makes horrible decisions that are his own fault. And it makes his romance with MJ really sad. There are some stretches of the movie that aren't super engaging to me, and I wish that the supporting cast could have been used a little bit better, particularly Ben Mendelsohn. I just like seeing Ben Mendelsohn in anything. But if you want a nice, breezy, fun movie, then I highly recommend Roofman. It's the best Channing Tatum movie with Marvel characters in it by far.
Dylan! You son of a bitch! You son of a bitch!
So, among many other things, 2025 was the year that I became a Predator fan. I watched the first Predator and... rocky start. I didn't really like it, to be honest. I thought it was really boring. Sorry. But then I watched Prey, the first Predator movie directed by Dan Trachtenberg, who's basically become like the Kevin Feige of the Predator franchise. And oh my god, Prey is so good, you have no idea. Easily, to this day, still my favourite Predator movie. I haven't seen them all, mind you, but out of the ones I've seen, it's my favourite. After that, I went to the cinema and watched Predator Badlands, and I really liked it, though it did have a few issues. Firstly, even though the casual connection to the Alien franchise with the Weyland-Yutani Corporation being the villains of the movie is cool, the main android villain here isn't that interesting, and the themes with her and the other android we follow throughout the film just feel like a weaker version of what was explored in Alien Romulus last year. Speaking of that android lady, while I like the rapport and connection that she had with Deck, the main character, Yautja protagonist, I found a lot of her jokes to just be not very funny. Kinda like MCU humor core, I guess. But, the positives, Dan Trachtenberg shows how perfect of a director he is for the Predator franchise once more. I really like the story and how different it is from previous Predator films, and I like how it expands on Yautja culture. Plus, I really like this mysterious planet that they fall on. I like how basically everything can kill the Predator. Even the fucking grass. It's not perfect, but if you're a Predator fan, you'll get a kick out of this for sure.
Birmingham is a fucking shithole! I hate the fucking place! I fucking hate it! It's full of zombie! I fucking hate it!
28 years later. One of my most anticipated films of the year purely because of that trailer. One of the best trailers I've ever seen. The film itself? Yeah, it's good. I wasn't really a fan of some of the editing and directing choices here. It felt less stressful and anxiety-inducing and more like flash stuff on the screen. That's scary, right? And there are elements I wish were expanded upon, like the politics of the island and Spike's relationship with his dad, but they'll probably be explored in Bone Temple. Everything else in this film? Yeah, it's great. Just as stressful and terrifying as 28 Days Later, though not quite as good. There's great performances all around, as to be expected from a cast like this. There's a great child performance from Alfie Williams. Ray Fiennes is as great as ever. Aaron Taylor-Johnson, who I'm usually kind of indifferent to, is surprisingly great. But the star of the show here is Jodie Comer. She is outstanding. And also the heart of one specific scene that blew me away by being one of the most shockingly beautiful scenes of 2025. I won't spoil it, but I nearly bawled my eyes out. So yeah, this film isn't quite as good as 28 Days Later, but it's still a great time. Can't wait for Bone Temple. Also, yeah, that ending, fucking hell. Whoa. I'm not gonna spoil it again, but bro, I don't even know what to say, man.
Everything has to be symmetrical!
Ah, The Phoenician Scheme. This year's Wes Anderson movie. And it's a great one. His last one was in 2023 with Asteroid City, a film I liked but can't imagine rewatching anytime soon, mainly due to how overambitious and kinda messy it was in places. This one has a much tighter and simpler story, with all the usual things you expect from a Wes Anderson film. Great jokes, impeccable set design, and cinematography, and fun and quirky characters. The standouts here are obviously the three leads, Benicio del Toro, Mia Thrippleton, and Michael Cera, all of whom are fantastic, with Mia in particular stealing the show for me personally. Also, Richard Ayoade is in this, and his scenes made me laugh out loud. He was very amusing. There are some sections that aren't quite as engaging as the rest of the film, like the Scarlett Johansson scene and the Jeffrey Wright stuff, even if it offers some good emotional moments for Jar Jar and Liesel. But other than that, yeah, this is a great movie. Even if you're not that into Wes Anderson, which I know a lot of people, especially nowadays, aren't, give it a try, you might like it. Do it to see Tom Hanks and Bryan Cranston ballin'.
I'm sad.
Thunderbolt **. One of the 3 MCU movies of 2025 and one of the 2 that I actually watched. Yeah, I do get the hype with this one, I'll admit. But I also don't think it's the best thing since sliced bread. I remember when this film came out, a lot of people were glazing it to high heavens. And to some extent I do get it. But like, it's not that good. The main issue I had with this film was how wasted some of the characters felt. Ghost, Bucky, and John don't really have much going for them aside from a couple decent character moments, mainly for John. Alexei is funny, and he has one really great scene with Yelena in the 3rd act, but he's mainly just here for comic relief, which he accomplishes very well, I'll give him that. At the end of the day, the most important characters in the film and the main drivers of the narrative are Yelena, Bob, and Val, all of whom are great. Yelena is fantastic here, even more than in Black Widow, and Val is a pretty delightful villain, but Bob is the very obvious standout. Lewis Pullman's performance is amazing, and his inner conflict is so heartbreakingly real. I can't really speak for how well this film handles its themes of mental health and depression, but I can say that it makes for a very compelling conflict. Pair that with some rare sauce in the direction for a Marvel movie, great action, and a fast pace, and you have a pretty great film that proves Marvel can still cook when they let their creatives be creative. Fantastic Four First Steps, my favourite Marvel movie of the year. Like Thunderbolts is probably an overall better movie, but I think I just had more fun with Fantastic Four. It made me want to read Fantastic Four comics. Maybe one day I will. First off, I love the world of this film. It's such a cool combination of retro and futuristic. Secondly, the characters are great. Reed and Sue were the standouts for me. Their love was so real and I felt for them so much. Johnny was also really likeable here. It's so funny comparing him to Chris Evans' Johnny, it's like fucking night and day.
That's it, Tinkerbell! You wanna fly? Then fly!
I wish Ben had a little bit more to do, but to be fair, he was the standout in the 2000s film, so, you know, may as well give the others the spotlight this time. I wonder if he was also the spotlight in Fan4stick. I haven't actually seen Fan4stick, I've only seen, you know, the clip. But the hypest part of the film for me was fucking Galactus. Oh my god, he's beautiful! I have been a Galactus fan since the days of LEGO Marvel superheroes in my youth, and he did not disappoint here. Silver Surfer, however, I don't know. And no, it's not because of the gender swap, because I'm not a brain-dead moron. I could not care less about the gender swap. But her redemption just felt a little bit too rushed, and she could have used a bit more screen time to develop her character. Plus, you can really tell a lot was cut from this film in post. Despite the issues, however, yeah, I like this movie a lot. Not the best the MCU has to offer, but a good sign for the future. Please do not destroy this world in Doomsday or Secret Wars, I am begging you.
I made it so that furries are legal and can vote!
Zootopia 2. Or Zootropolis 2, as it's called in the UK, because the first one was also called Zootropolis. I think it's because we have, like, a zoo here in the UK called Zootopia, so they had to change it here. I think that's the reason, but I honestly don't know. I don't even know where I heard that, to be honest. Anyway, so the first Zootopia movie is a little iffy to me nowadays, mainly due to the very on-the-nose race metaphors. I still like that film, but, you know. But thankfully, I actually found myself liking this sequel more than the original. I'm genuinely shocked. I remember I saw the trailer for this, and I wasn't, like, too excited for it, even though I liked the first film well enough. This is just a fun little animated mystery/police film. Judy and Nick still have impeccable chemistry, all the new side characters they meet are really funny, the action sequences and general direction are super exciting and stylish for a modern day Disney movie. The Linksleys are clearly parodies of the Roy family from Succession, but I just can't prove it! I mean, they cast the other Culkin for one of the Linksleys? And perhaps most impressive of all, there is a twist here that is similar to one in the first film, that is way better and far less smug in this film, that actually ties in really well to the film's themes of gentrification and systemic racism. Yes, those are the themes of this kid's film. So yeah, watch this film. Do it for the epic Patrick Warburton horse.
Hey Lois, it's me, the baby.
I'm a bad father!
Jay Kelly is the latest feature from writer-director Noah Baumbach. I'm a big fan of his previous work, from what I've seen anyway. He co-wrote both Barbie and Fantastic Mr. Fox, both of which I adore, and he wrote and directed the phenomenal The Meyerowitz Stories New and Selected, which coincidentally starred Adam Sandler, who was also in this movie. This movie is about Mr. Fox himself, George Clooney, as he realizes that he's been so focused on his career all his life and hasn't focused on the real important things, like family. It's a pretty compelling character study, though probably my least favourite Baumbach effort from what I've seen thus far. Oh wait, I just remembered he also co-wrote Madagascar 3, Europe's Most Wanted. Okay, so my second least favourite Baumbach effort. Why did he write that? The characters and dialogue aren't quite as compelling as, say, the Meyerowitz Stories, and neither are the performances. George Clooney does a good job, as do Sandler and Laura Dern, but these aren't earth-shattering performances either. Like, Sandler's performance is apparently getting Oscar buzz. Like, he's great here, but compared to his performances in, say, Uncut Gems,
Holy shit, I'm gonna come.
the Meyerowitz Stories, and especially Punch Drunk Love, it's not amazing. I also think the film is a little bit meandering at points and maybe a bit too long, and even though Jay is pretty well fleshed out, I kind of wish the focus was more so on Sandler's character, since he was kind of the heart of the movie. With that said, the ending of this movie is genuinely amazing and no joke, it actually made me cry. So well done, Noah. Watch Jay Kelly if you want, or just watch the Meyerowitz Stories, it's like way better.
Who are you and how did you get in here?
I'm Liam Neeson.
And I'm
Liam Neeson.
2025 was the year I finally watched the first two Naked Gun movies, and I finally get the hype. The first one is genuinely one of the funniest films I've ever seen in my life. And this legacy sequel genuinely surprised me with how well it follows up the original. Liam Neeson does a shockingly great job with the deadpan comedy. Like, he's no Leslie Nielsen, but he is a worthy successor to the throne. The comedy in this film is honestly fucking perfect. So in keeping with the original film whilst also updating itself for the modern age. There are like 3 or 4 gags, maybe even 5, in this film that genuinely had me in stitches and are gonna stay with me forever. Go and watch this film, it's hysterical. And also watch the original Naked Gun while you're at it. Very short segment, but it's not a very complicated film. It's funny. What can I say?
Well, this is not mission difficult, Mr. Hunt, it's mission impossible.
2025 was also the year I binge-watched the Mission Impossible films with my mother. And oh my god, they love them so much, they're so good. They're like genuinely like the peak of modern day blockbuster filmmaking. If you want to know how I'd rank them, here you go. There's my ranking. Anyway, how was the conclusion to this nearly 30-year-old saga? Pretty fantastic for the second half. The first half of this, while good, is also way too exposition heavy. There's so many flashbacks to previous events in the series, including a retcon that I actually really like. but once Ethan is in the submarine, from there on, it's like the greatest movie ever made. Such amazing high-octane action, impeccable tension, and a genuinely terrifying threat in the Entity. Its final plan may be simple, but that's what makes it so scary to me. And the stunts, oh my god. It took the Academy like 100 years to introduce a stunts category, and I cannot wait for this movie and this franchise to win that coveted first prize. It may not be perfect, but it feels like the conclusion to a gigantic story, and an amazing end for the character of Ethan Hunt. It was so rewarding seeing this in cinemas after watching all of these movies. And if you haven't seen them, I highly recommend them. You have to watch all of them though. Yes, even 2.
Maybe one day you'll give me a name.
4's a name?
So is Gary.
Superman was my most anticipated film of the year, and in some ways my most disappointing. To be fair, it was my own fault. I went in expecting the perfect Superman movie and the peak of comic book movies, and instead I got a pretty fun, if slightly bloated and convoluted superhero movie with some exceptional elements paired with elements I'm still kind of upset about. Like, I'm sorry, but this movie has way too many characters, far too much going on, not enough things for mainstay Superman characters like the Daily Planet staff to do, and needed more time to flesh out its themes. Plus, I was always going to be more critical of this film as an adaptation than James Gunn's other works like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay. Now what? Open the fucking door!
Because I actually am an avid reader of Superman comics. All my issues aside, however, this is a very fun, very ambitious comic book movie, and a pretty great introduction to Superman for newcomers to the character. The characters are all likeable, even if there's too many of them. The action is super fun, it's really comic booky, and Lex Luthor is genuinely a phenomenal villain. All-timer comic book villain, one of the best villains of the year. James Gunn did my boy so well. Even if I'm still not happy about that twist. I'm sorry, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm on about.
Seriously, watch out for fire. Fire bad.
Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein was another one of my most anticipated films of the year. As someone who's not a big fan of the original Universal Frankenstein movie, I think this is a far more compelling and interesting movie that explores the themes of man playing God and the nature of life much better. Admittedly, the first act didn't have me too hooked. I liked all the stuff with Victor's father, Tywin Lannister, and I didn't even notice Mia Goth played Victor's mum as well as Elizabeth, which gives his obsession and infatuation with Elizabeth much more disturbing and fucking weird qualities. But it's only when Victor actually starts making the creature that I got truly invested. Speaking of which, the creature. Oh my god. He is by far the best part of this film, all thanks to Jacob Elordi's masterful performance. He perfectly transitions from an innocent child into a deeply fascinating being by the end of the movie. All that stuff with the old man was particularly moving, I loved that shit. One issue I do have with the film that holds it back is unfortunately Oscar Isaac's performance as Victor. It felt like he was doing too much and being way too over the top. The terrible British accent doesn't help either, to be fair.
Cheers, thanks a lot.
It just feels too much like theatre acting, I guess, which doesn't mesh well with the more naturalistic acting of everyone else in the movie. Oh well, that aside, this is a really gorgeous, highly ambitious, and super compelling gothic horror movie by an auteur director at the top of his game. I should watch more Del Toro movies, I'm realizing. Kitty! Sorry Baby is the most melancholic film I saw all year. I didn't know anything about it before going into it, and as it began, I thought it was just going to be a silly little comedy with a slight melancholic undertone. And then we meet one specific character, and as soon as we met them, I knew something was off. There's a turning point in this film that left me with a harrowing look on my face the entire rest of the time. That whole scene, that turning point in the film, is a masterpiece of wordless storytelling, only broken at the end by a line that genuinely wounded me. Eva Victor, who wrote, directed, and starred in this film, is outstanding. delivering one of my favourite lead performances of the year. As you can tell, I'm trying to be kind of vague so as not to spoil too much. You really need to check this film out. It's not perfect, like in particular the comedy didn't really work for me. The main character using humour to cope and deflect is good, like I like that. But then there are some scenes like the We Are Women scene where I had to ask, was that meant to be funny? But in the end, this is a tragically heartbreaking film about how hard it is to move on from trauma. But it also ends on a thankfully optimistic note. Also, the outfits are really cozy, and also the main character picks up a cat and says, I love you, and I felt so seen.
Witches and demons are real. And they're all sent from Mars to harvest human teeth to power their time machine.
Bugonia is our yearly check-in on the possibly deteriorating mental state of Yorgos Lanthimos, who is slowly becoming, actually no, not even slowly, who is quickly becoming one of my favourite directors working today. I absolutely adored Poor Things and I really loved The Favourite, which I also watched this year. And this film is not only just as good as the latter, though not quite as good as the former, but it is also very different from those other two features. This one is still weird and offbeat, but in a more disturbing way than Poor Things and The Favourite, which were more comedic in nature. It's a genuinely terrifying story about the damage, the apathy of big corporations, childhood trauma, and being led down the wrong pipeline can do to a mind like Teddy's. This film is basically a character study for Teddy, who was brought to life with an amazing lead performance by Jesse Plemons. The ending of this film has also stuck with me, not just for how fucking weird it is, but also for how blunt it is about the overarching "please stop murdering the earth to death" message. So yeah, another banger by Yorgos Lanthimos. Now I need to watch Save the Green Planet because Bugonia is a remake of that film.
Let's see a samurai version.
Okay.
Dan Trachtenberg's secret second Predator film of this year, as well as the first ever animated Predator film, Predator: Killer of Killers. With an animation team that previously worked on Arcane, as well as the fight choreographer for Prey returning, you better fucking believe this film looks amazing. The animation is absolutely gorgeous, and the action sequences go so hard. The concept is also really cool, an anthology of 3 stories set in 3 different time periods, with each one being interrupted by a predator. It perfectly expands on Prey's blueprint and delivers 3 gorgeously animated and ridiculously entertaining stories. My only issues with the film are some of the dialogue, particularly from Torres, and wishing that the third act was a little bit longer. Oh well, this film still fucking slaps. It's so fun. They should make a TV show out of random, Predator stories throughout time. That'd be really fun. I'd watch that.
Whoa, he's bisexual! I didn't know that!
By the way, I'm bisexual!
Caught Stealing was one of 2025's surprise bangers. I'm not that well versed in the works of Darren Aronofsky, but I do know that this is probably the most un-Aronofsky film that he has ever made. What I've gathered from his other 2 films of his that I've seen, the excellent Black Swan and the kind of not very good The Whale, is that he likes to make his audience uncomfortable. Deeply uncomfortable. This film isn't really like those other 2, however. It's more of a classic, fun, crime/action romp that's more focused on excitement rather than making you uncomfortable. And you know what? I love that. Considering the fact that, again, I don't like The Whale, I'm glad that Darren toned it back for his next film and gave us a fun, silly, ridiculously entertaining movie in Caught Stealing. There are some elements I wish were fleshed out more, like Hank's trauma and alcoholism, but when I'm having this much fun, I don't even care. The action is exhilarating, the story is exciting, Hank is such a flawed but likeable protagonist, Matt Smith's character is the greatest character in cinema, and as a bisexual man I felt spoiled with the pairing of Zoe Kravitz and Austin Butler in this film. Whoa, mom.
You were masturbating when I came in.
Yeah.
Next we have the latest Benoit Blanc's silly little murder mystery, Wake Up Dead Man. And it is, as to be expected, amazing. This is definitely the most serious and most traditional entry in the series yet. The comedy is still there, but it's less frequent. The film also doesn't use its ensemble cast quite as well as the first 2 movies do, especially since it's pretty hyper-focused on Father Judd and his internal struggles. Thankfully, I love Father Judd. Josh O'Connor plays him perfectly, and he's probably the most interesting and well-fleshed-out Knives Out protagonist. Blanc is also as peak as ever. Daniel Craig never skips a beat with his performance, and even though I wish they were utilised better, the ensemble cast is still excellent. Glenn Close, Andrew Scott, and especially Josh Brolin are all fantastic here in particular. Brolin honestly gives one of my favourite supporting performances of the year, perfectly embodying this venomous man. I also like how this film criticises the flaws in the Catholic Church whilst not denouncing Catholicism as a whole, showing the pros and cons through Judd and Josh Brolin's character Jefferson Wicks. It's a great film, probably my second favourite Knives Out film. You just can't beat the first one, it's too perfect.
You're nuts!
I hope Rian Johnson never stops making these.
Where are the kids? Where are the kids?
Next to Rooney, we have Weapons, one of the best horror films of the year, and for good reason. Between this and Barbarian, Zach Cregger is becoming another one of my favourite directors working today. While I do prefer the more small-scale, fucking terrifying Barbarian, Weapons has a tighter and more interesting story with a very unique structure and intriguing central mystery. The film unfolds in a really cool way with us switching between the perspectives of different, interesting and flawed characters, sometimes experiencing new events, or sometimes experiencing old events from different perspectives, leading to a very complete and almost grand narrative. The film does a good job of balancing humour and horror as well, with an exceptionally funny scene usually being followed with an exceptionally shit-your-pants scene. This film isn't as scary as Barbarian, but it does get there. It's certainly unsettling. Like Zach Cregger knows how to unsettle you. Go into both this movie and Barbarian as blind as possible. You'll thank me later. I mean, like, maybe you'll thank me with Barbarian. That film fucking goes places.
Hi, I'm Saul Goodman. Did you know that you have rights?
Okay, now it's time for a movie I guarantee no one else has in their top 10. Hell, teetering on their top 5. The sequel to 2021's Nobody, starring Bob Odenkirk. Nobody 2, also starring Bob Odenkirk. I have no excuse. Nobody the First is, like, unironically one of my favourite films of all time. I love it so much. It is just such a fun, perfect little action movie. And Nobody 2 gives me exactly what I wanted out of a sequel to Nobody. Just more Nobody. More stylish and fun direction, more brutal and intense action, more Bob Odenkirk having so much fun, and a breezy 90-minute runtime that flies by. Admittedly, this film is pretty similar to the first, with its plot unfolding in a similar way, and the villain even being basically a carbon copy of Julian from the first movie, just far less entertaining. But still, it works for me. I'll take 100 more, please. This won't be for everyone, obviously, and objectively speaking, most of the films I have ranked below it have more depth to them. But this is my list, so, you know, fuck you. I love Nobody 2.
I knew I was just a normal human being. You can call me Rob, I eat hot dogs!
Mickey 17 is quite possibly the most slept on film of the year. I haven't heard anyone talk about this film outside of, like Karsten Runquist, I guess, but, like, he talks about everything. But believe me, it's worth your time. This is just an insanely entertaining and wacky sci-fi adventure, where Robert Pattinson, with quite possibly his weirdest fucking voice to date,
I died and I was just born again.
becomes a guy who gets continuously cloned so he can do all the life-threatening stuff that others can't do on this space colony. It's a really funny premise that makes way to a very funny, silly little movie. Robert's performance is outstanding with how he's able to distinguish the two Mickeys, and the film's anti-imperialism message, while not the most subtle thing in the world, is an important message, especially for today. Can you tell that I recorded this on January 5th? What the actual fuck is going on in the world? This won't be for everyone, but I for one loved it.
It's time for Halloween! Don't come to my house or else I'll suck your dick! Blood! I'll suck your blood!
Sinners. Oh, brother, where do I even begin? Quite possibly the most iconic movie of the year. The biggest smash hit that wasn't a superhero or animated movie. One of the highest rated and most celebrated movies of 2025. It feels like everything that could be said about Sinners has already been said, so I won't spend too much time on this segment. Just know that the hype is fucking real. The cinematography is absolutely gorgeous, the action is super exciting, the characters all feel real, human, and deeply compelling, even the villain. And the songs, oh my god, the songs are all bangers. And the build up to this rare safe haven for the black community to come together and just live, being uprooted and destroyed, is perfectly heartbreaking. This film is an absolute masterpiece. But there were 4 films I liked just a tiny bit more.
I hate kids.
If I Had Legs I'd Kick You is the most fucking terrifying, stress-inducing, anxiety attack causing film I have ever seen. Every frame of this film is so claustrophobic and so scary, and it's technically not even a horror movie. It's basically Uncut Gems but with motherhood, which works surprisingly well. The film's cinematography and editing are particularly clever here, doing such an amazing job of putting you in Linda's shoes, aka making you feel as stressed and uncomfortable as humanly possible. Rose Byrne gives maybe the best lead performance of the whole year, never overacting and perfectly embodying the stress, exhaustion, and fear of Linda so effortlessly. But also, can we talk about Conan O'Brien for a second? Since when was the funny Saturday Night Live guy? Is that the show he hosts? I don't know, I don't actually watch American late night shows. I don't know. But anyway, since when was the funny guy this much of an amazing dramatic actor? He's genuinely outstanding in this role, commanding every scene he's in, even when he's in complete silence, which he's in most of the time. Lastly, this film's message about motherhood and how some people, despite how hard they try, aren't fit to be parents, is so heartbreakingly real. This film has stuck with me more than maybe any other film I've seen this year, and you should absolutely watch it. Unless, of course, you have really bad anxiety, in which, yeah, probably don't. By the end, I felt like I was gonna throw up. I'm not even joking.
Fucking fucking bugger, buggity, fuck, arse, willy, shit and fuck, and tits.
I Swear is a Scottish movie about John Davidson, a man with Tourette's syndrome, who became a nationwide speaker and ambassador for Tourette's awareness and treatment. In theory, you'd think that this would be a really boring, kind of tone-deaf biopic. And then you watch it and it's one of the most heartwarming, tender, beautiful films of 2025. And I wish more people knew about it. There are 2 main things that carry this film: the compassionate script and the lead performance by Richard Aramayo. I hope I pronounced that right. The script is so realistic, down to earth, and beautifully empathetic. The characters feel so real, both thanks to the script and the amazing performances all around. And of course, the one that stands out above the rest, Richard Aramayo as John. Acting out Tourette's syndrome is always going to be a challenge, because you don't want your performance to come across like a mockery, but I think Richard absolutely nails it. I've met someone with Tourette's, and Richard's tics are so accurate to that person. He really knocks it out of the park. Just go watch this film, please. It's funny, it's heartbreaking, it's heartwarming, it's compassionate, and it's unapologetically Scottish. A true UK classic.
Fanatic narcissism, egocentrism, and megalomania, crossed with severe obsessive compulsion.
Marty Supreme. The last film I saw in 2025. Was it good? Was it worth the hype even? Yeah. Yeah, short answer, yes. Long answer, this is perhaps the most exhilarating film of the year. A relentless, anxiety-inducing clusterfuck of shit just happening. My heart was racing the entire time, and I slumped down in my seat multiple times at the countless shocking and fucking insane moments that were happening. You go in expecting a boring movie about table tennis, and then about 30 minutes in, it shifts into a movie about this horrible person desperately hustling and conning his way to the top, driven by his delusions that he is special and that he is meant for something greater. This film isn't really a sports movie, or a table tennis movie, or even an underdog movie. It's a wild, stylish, ridiculously entertaining portrait of pure, unadulterated narcissism, and how people who do genuinely believe that they are better than everyone else will do literally anything to satisfy their ego. Jesse Plemons was my previous choice for Best Actor, but Timothée Chalamet has this in the bag. Oh my god, what a fucking movie. So fun and so entertaining, but also so just I can't even describe it. You need to see it. It absolutely would have topped this list if not for another film I saw this year that was just a tiny bit better.
What time is it? You shut up! Shut up!
Last but not least, we have mine and many other people's favourite film of 2025, Paul Thomas Anderson's latest masterpiece, One Battle After Another. And can you blame me for going with the obvious answer? This is one of the best films of the century. It's such a complete and fully realised vision that had me gripping my seat the entire time. This is probably the most important film of the year, hell maybe even the decade. A masterpiece by an auteur director that is scathing about its anti-fascist, anti-military messages. This film fucking hates the military, the social divide in America, and the way minorities are abused by those in power. But aside from the wokeness of it all, this film is just a relentless and entertaining action comedy. I love the fact that Bob doesn't do anything. He accomplishes nothing because he didn't need to. His greatest achievement was never his work with the French 75, nor his time with Perfidia, nor trying to save Willa. It was raising Willa to be the amazing, brave, headstrong woman we see in this movie. It's such a sweet and wholesome message in this film full of murder, action, and white supremacists. Speaking of which, Stephen J. Lockjaw. What a character. He is undeniably the scene stealer in this film, a masterfully written and acted villain who is as dangerous as he is pathetic. And Sean Penn gives easily my favourite performance of the entire year. We also have Benicio del Toro again, playing a goofy sensei who helps people because he's a good person. And of course, we also have Perfidia Beverly Hills, who is just so fascinating on so many levels. And of course, the technical aspects are astounding. Gorgeous cinematography, maybe the best editing of the year, engaging and dynamic tracking shots and long takes, and a masterful score by Johnny Greengrass. Plus, it's hysterical, it's exciting, it's kind of everything I could ever want in a movie. And despite being nearly 3 hours long, it absolutely flew by. Rarely have I been that hooked when watching a movie. One Battle After Another is a masterpiece in every sense of the word, and the crowning cinematic achievement of this absolutely incredible year for cinema. And that is all the movies I watched in 2025, that came out in 2025. I would highly recommend watching at least everything from like 27 upwards, and see if you like it. Hell, maybe even some of the films that I personally didn't like, maybe you'll like them. And let me know if you're mad that I forgot that boxing movie with The Rock, or the Billy Zane Marlon Brando movie, or whatever slop Pixar pumped out this year. And hopefully, I will see you again soon on this channel. I do have another video that I'm currently writing that will hopefully be out soon, so stay tuned for that. Until then, fare thee well.